It just never ceases to amaze me how many times non-disabled people make videos about us as a community, capitalizing on us. Let's not get it twisted. This company made money on making this video, and then they make it inaccessible to the very audience they're talking about. It has been a stressful day, my friends, and what better way to end a stressful day than by de-stressing with all of you and watching a video together, reacting in real time. And look, I think at this point, if you're a follower of this channel, you know that I have a passion and interest in all things disability because my lived experience as a blind woman, just feeling so misunderstood by society, has led me to want to never make anybody else feel that way, which means I go out of my way to try to learn about things that I don't know much about and that I frankly don't maybe understand. And today is one of those days. I have a lot of friends with disabilities or chronic illnesses. Just by virtue of being passionate and being an advocate and being involved in the community, I've developed a large community myself of friends with lived experience, but I do not have any friends who are conjoined twins. And I don't know that all conjoined twins identify as disabled. The label disability is truly like a self-identifier. Some people don't choose to identify with that, but I would say there's certain aspects for sure of being a conjoined twin that are disabling, and it's certainly at the very least medically complex. And I did grow up watching years ago the show on TLC about Abby and Brittany, who's a pair of conjoined twins who are now, I believe, school teachers. One of them is happily married, but they choose to live their life out of the public eye, which I completely respect. But I stumbled upon this video about a different set of conjoined twins, and I'm curious to watch and see what we can learn. So I thought we'd watch it together. Let's get into it. But videos like this would not be possible without the amazing sponsors who support this channel and keep it running. So I want to first start off by thanking the sponsor of today's video, Bullstrap. Bullstrap used to just make phone cases and trackable wallets for the boys, but now us girly pops are included, and trust and believe, nobody is more excited about that than my boyfriend, because he is so sick of me losing my wallet. It's been happening, admittedly, a lot lately. I'm not usually somebody who loses things, but my MagSafe wallet, like I kept taking it off my phone when I'd get home and then forget where I put it down, or it would come off in my bag. Like it was just getting lost constantly. And now, neither of us have to worry about that. We each got a phone case. I got the Minimalist Portfolio case in South Beach, which is a really nice pink shade. And what I loved about this one is that it has the wallet part built in. That's the portfolio of it all, okay? It has 2 card slots on the case. So now I never have to worry about forgetting or losing them the way I have been with taking off my MagSafe wallet. And I only ever carried 2 cards in there. So the 2 slots is perfect. My ID and my credit card, the 2 most important cards that I never want to leave the house without. And then my boyfriend got the just plain minimalist wallet in the Terra shade. It's like a nice warm brown color. And he can still attach a MagSafe wallet to it with the trackable technology built in. And then for my wallet, a separate wallet, because I do obviously need more than 2 cards. Those are just the 2 most important cards that I always want on me. But I have a lot more that I need to take with me regularly. So I opted for the Carry wristlet wallet because I love a wristlet moment. I love that I can just put this around my wrist, but they do have more classic standard wallet styles if that's more your thing. But I love that I have a pouch where I can put things like my dog treats, and then I've got all of my cards here, and this is trackable. I am able to connect this to Find My on my phone. So if I lose it, I can just check my phone and it will make a noise to alert me as to where it is. Find My BS wallet.
Which one?
Find Molly's BS wallet.
Looking for Molly's BS wallet.
There we have it. Found it. Turns out it was in my left hand the whole time. One of my favorite things is that the tracker is built in. So if it gets lost or stolen, people can't remove the tracker. It is built into the product. And the charge lasts for 6 to 8 months and is rechargeable, so no need to worry about buying batteries or having to charge it frequently. The wallets and phone cases are also made of really high quality material. It is full grain pebbled leather, and it does have that delicious leather smell that we all love so much. They also have a lifetime warranty, so you don't have to worry. And if you are somebody who is frequently losing your wallet, who is blind like me. I feel like truly this is the product for the blind people, okay? This is our thing. It is now your time to purchase because I can get you 15% off your order using my code Molly15. So head to bullstrap.com and use code Molly15 to get yourself a trackable wallet and phone case combo. Full disclosure, I started watching the video and quickly realized that it's inaccessible to me as a blind viewer. It is so funny. It just never ceases to amaze me how many times non-disabled people make videos about us as a community, capitalizing on us. Let's not get it twisted. This company made money on making this video, and then they make it inaccessible to the very audience they're talking about. Always fun. So, new system. For the first little section, my boyfriend will pause and explain for all of us blind folk when needed, including reading the subtitles because the family isn't speaking in English. And then there is some narration that comes in at times that will help fill in the gaps for those of us who cannot see the visuals on screen. Also, from the little snippet that I did watch, it starts right out of the gate with ableist language. So buckle up. This should be a good watch. We start with the word suffering from, which I feel like we as a community, we've all had that language used. I grew up so entrenched in the medical community with them saying, she suffers from retinitis pigmentosa. And I just really hate that language because I don't suffer from, I live with. I feel like so many of my friends in the disability rights community are also very in line with that. Like a lot of my friends in wheelchairs say they really hate the term wheelchair bound because they're not bound to their wheelchair. Their wheelchair gives them the freedom to move about the world and explore the way they want to. So I'm not generally somebody who harps on nitpicking every little word. Frankly, most phrases that a lot of people in the community hate, I'm let's let it slide. But that's one of those ones where I just feel like the word suffer from carries so much weight and stigma with it. And I'm living life to the fullest. I ain't suffering, let's be clear. So, all right, let's get started with this new method.
Hello, I will do my best to do audio description. Here we go.
They suffer from one of the world's rarest medical conditions.
So they said, let me pause it. They said, we don't wish to get separated.
What are they saying?
We want to live as we are.
Okay, can we just recognize the juxtaposition of the fact that the first line is they suffer from, and then the boys' first line is we don't wish to be changed? How beautiful. How, what a representation of what I just said. They're we like our life. And that, yet the non-disabled narrator is still they are suffering. It's crazy. Okay, keep going.
I'm just saying what
But incredibly, 12-year-old conjoined twins, Shivanath and Shivram Sahu, have learnt to coexist in almost perfect harmony.
So they're being shown helping bathe each other.
The twins, who share 2 legs and 4 arms, were born in an impoverished village near Raipur in central India. Over the years, Shivanath and Shivram have learnt to work together to get through everyday tasks.
So they say, we have learned by ourselves.
They're able to wash, dress, eat, and walk upstairs. They're even able to ride to school on a specially made tricycle.
Oh, I love that.
While one twin winds the pedal, the other steers. But that's not to...
So I'll just describe it. It is a really cool bike. Visually, it's totally custom, so that's pretty sweet.
I think that's awesome too because, poverty, of course, adds an extra element to disability. Being in a rural setting adds an extra challenge to disability. All of these things compound and add different layers, but it's awesome that they were still able to get access somehow to a custom-made mobility device that allows them to get to school. I also think thus far, just in this short period, they are such a great example of the resiliency of disabled people. We as disabled people live every day in a world that didn't consider us, that wasn't built for us, that has inherent roadblocks in everyday tasks, and we adapt, we cope, we navigate. And I think we're constantly telling people when we hear those comments from non-disabled people oh, I'd die if I became disabled. I'd want to off myself, these terrible things that we hear as disabled people. They're no, it feels that way, but at first maybe, but you do adapt, you do cope, and it becomes your life and your normal. And it just I always say, for me, doing my makeup without a mirror and entirely by feel and memory is as easy for me as you doing your makeup with a mirror is for you. It is my normal. And I just think it's so incredible. how human beings, we are designed to be so flexible and adaptable. It's beautiful.
दूसरा को तो अच्छा लग रहा है देखने में.
Okay, so this is the father saying, for everyone, it is good fun to watch my children.
हम समझेंगे.
But we
परेशानी
understand
होगा कि नहीं
the
होगा.
hardships that they
बरसात
encounter.
में सारा दिक्कत.
During the rain, it becomes difficult for them to walk.
ऐसे तो उन लोग चल लेते हैं आराम से. दुकान वगैरह चले जाते हैं.
Photographs of the twins have been shown to leading paediatrician Dr. Christian Chug. He says it might be possible to separate the twins, but with drastic consequences for Shivanath, the more dependent of the two. While Shivram would retain both legs and go on to live a more normal life, Shivanath would require full-time care.
Yes, it's possible. There are questions whether we should, what will we gain, and what will we lose? What does the family want? How will the society take it? And above all, how would these two kids take it?
I think first off, what the father said about the hardship, it's so important, and I always try to share like a balanced perspective of my particular life as a blind woman, of that two things can be true. I can accept and love the life I have and recognize that I face more hardships than I should have to, and than I would if I could see. And those two things can sit and be true at the same time. So I love that they're taking this balanced approach, that their life is beautiful but also hard. And I also think that this conversation around the idea of separating them is really powerful, right? That they're considering not just if it's possible, but the implications it'll have on the children's lives today and moving forward, both in society, what functionality they would have. And I think that is the missing nuance that is so often, I think that's the nuance that is so often missing around conversations of curing disabled people or fixing and healing disabled people, is that, well, yes, it will mitigate some things, other new challenges may present themselves. And that should be taken into account when we think about curing disabled people.
Controversially, their families say they wouldn't separate them, even if they could afford it.
I think it's really sad that that's controversial. And I know that it is, because when we see disabled people say, I don't want to be cured, more so even than other disabled people, non-disabled people are very mad at that. Like, I remember the first time I said, like, I don't really care if I get my sight back. Like, I've moved on from that feeling. The amount of sighted people that were upset by that was, like, very surprising to me. I was like, what is this? How does this impact you? Like, I don't understand. So it's, like, so funny that that's controversial.
So then the father says, even if doctors said they could, I won't get them separated.
अलग नहीं करवाऊंगा. मेरे को शौक नहीं है.
God created them like this, so they will have to walk like this.
भगवान ने तो भेजे हैं तो वो तो चलना पड़ेगा.
They will stay like this. I don't want anything else.
और मैं कुछ नहीं चाहता.
If they are left alone, Dr. Chug believes they may go on to have jobs, get married, and even have children.
They have two different minds, two different hearts, and two different lungs. And so, as far as the physical living is concerned, they can go on like this.
Regardless of the doctor's findings, Shivanath and Shivram are adamant they will never be parted. And while their imminent teenage years are likely to throw up more challenges, like always, they will face them together.
You know, all in all, even though the non-disabled narrator was a bit problematic in certain moments, I actually think there was like so much good that I saw in this video that I really appreciated. And it just goes to show that like this conversation around disability is not like this niche conversation like just happening in the, say, American disability rights space, or like this is global. Even in small rural communities in India, they're having these same conversations. And that actually gives me a lot of hope. And I'm glad that this video has been seen by so many millions and millions and millions of people. And I hope that they learned from it and took away what I saw in this video. And I think that doctor is completely right. I'm actually shocked because, look, I love doctors. They're great. But unfortunately, oftentimes, a lot of ableism is in the medical space. And this doctor had such a open-minded approach. And he's right. Like, being conjoined will not stop them from moving on and living full lives with careers and partners, as Abby and Brittany are perfect examples of. So, love that. Okay, this is really funny. I was actually really curious to see, like, what was the sentiment? What did people take away? So we were going to scroll down to the comments and, like, react to some of them together. The comments are turned off, and this channel does not typically turn their comments off, which makes me suspect it was getting, like, a lot of negative comments, which makes me sad. Because that is not at all what I took away from it. Like, I took such positive messages away, and I'm like, ugh, I bet it's just a bunch of people being like, I can't believe it's cruel not to separate them. Ugh. Classic. Before I end out this video, I just want to once again thank Bullstrap. All of the products I shared are linked down below. Definitely check them out, especially if you are blind or prone to losing your things. You will not regret it. And until next time, if you want to watch another one of my reaction videos, you can click right here. Or if you want to hear a story about how I recently almost got hit by a car and then got yelled at while parking in a disabled parking spot, you can click right here. And I'll see you next time. Bye!